Have you ever looked into her eyes and felt a storm you couldn't name? Not love, not lust, something older, something that made you forget the edge of your own sword. She wasn't sent to save you. She was sent to reveal you, and the moment she sees you've forgotten yourself, that you traded your mission for her mood, she doesn't cry, she doesn't argue, she just leaves, not out of cruelty, but out of instinct. You didn't lose her, you lost yourself. She didn't leave because you weren't enough. She left because you stopped being who you were when she first saw you. You think she drifted, that she changed, that her heart became cold, but the truth is colder. You changed first, not in the way you think. You didn't become worse, you became soft, not soft in feeling, soft in form. Your fire turned to warmth, your edge turned to caution, and the man she once respected began to disappear in front of her eyes. She fell for your clarity, not your comfort, for your direction, not your devotion, for the way you stood, not the way you leaned. And over time, you leaned more than you stood. You started asking more than leading. You started adjusting more than deciding. You started orbiting instead of pulling her into your gravity. And whether she said it or not, she felt it. A woman doesn't walk away because you're not kind. She walks away when she no longer feels your center. You gave her the crown before you wore your own. You placed her on the throne of your purpose, and then wondered why she couldn't respect a man who bowed. She didn't leave because she stopped loving you. She left because you stopped being lovable in the way that matters. Not the romantic way, not the poetic way, the way that commands alignment, the way that holds presence, the way that says, "This is where I'm going. You're welcome to come, but I'm not stopping." But you stopped. You paused your mission. You silenced your voice. You looked to her for direction, and she saw it. And once she sees you no longer trust yourself, she can no longer trust you either. She was never meant to be your compass. She was meant to test if you had one. This is the truth no one tells you. You don't lose her when she walks out. You lose her the moment she senses you've lost yourself, that you traded the edge of your soul for her affection. And no matter how loyal she is, her instincts will not follow a man who does not lead. You didn't lose her, you lost your sword. You lost your stance. You lost your silence. And once you did, she simply responded, not with anger, not with betrayal, but with the quiet withdrawal of a woman who cannot kneel to a man who has already knelt to her. She's not the enemy, she's the test. She was never sent to destroy you. She was sent to reveal you. Socrates didn't teach men to fear women. He taught men to fear themselves, unexamined, undisciplined, unprepared. He warned that the man who doesn't question his desires will be ruled by them, and nowhere do those desires burn more quietly than in the presence of the feminine. She doesn't test you because she's malicious. She tests you because it's written into her biology, not to hurt you, to expose you, to see if you can hold yourself when her affection disappears, to see if you speak with clarity when she floods you with emotion, to see if your mission is real, or if you only invented it to impress her. You think the test is unfair. You think love should be safe. You think the right woman won't make you doubt yourself. But here's the truth Socrates knew. You don't know who you are until you're tested, not in comfort, in uncertainty, in pressure, in seduction, in the quiet emotional warfare of the feminine instinct. She will test your presence, not because she wants to destroy it, but because she wants to feel it. If you collapse under the weight of her silence, she knows it was never real. You call it mixed signals. She calls it selection. Nature doesn't gift love freely. It demands calibration, alignment, stability, a man who can remain still in the storm without silencing the storm itself. Her tests aren't commands, they're questions. Can you stay grounded when she pulls away? Can you stay composed when she pokes your insecurity? Can you stay directed when her beauty tempts you to orbit? If not, she doesn't punish you, she simply stops respecting you. Not because she's cruel, but because she's honest. Brutally honest with what she feels in her body. Her instincts have no use for a man who folds. That's what Socrates saw before most men even dared speak it. That women are not evil. They are not angels. They are nature. And nature always tests for strength. You call her difficult. He called her necessary. The flame that forges the soul, the mirror that reflects whether you are man or mimic. You want her to stop testing, you want her to be easier, then you want the illusion, not the truth. Because the real woman doesn't follow the man who pleases her, she follows the man who doesn't need to. She's not the enemy, she's the exam, and every reaction you give her is your answer. Beauty isn't innocent, it's strategic. You were taught to worship beauty, to chase it, to believe it meant goodness, soft voice, soft skin, soft eyes. You saw that as purity. But beauty is not a promise. It is not a sign of character. It is not innocence. Beauty is a strategy, not consciously, not manipulatively. Biologically, it is nature's filter, a signal to your instincts, a mirror to your hunger. You think you're falling in love, but most of the time you're falling into a script, one you didn't write, one written long before you were born. You say, chemistry. She says nothing, because it's not personal. It's pattern. Her beauty draws you in, but that's not an invitation. It's a test, to see what you do with it, to see if you chase it, to see if you lose yourself the moment it enters the room. And most men do. They forget their mission. They forget their values. They forget their voice, and they start bending their truth to keep her gaze. That is not love. That is addiction. Addiction to being seen, to being wanted, to being chosen. But the moment you need to be chosen, you have already lost yourself, because she doesn't admire men who orbit. She admires men who are already lit from within. Her beauty is powerful, but not because it completes you, because it exposes you. It shows where your discipline ends. It shows where your clarity fades. It shows what you haven't resolved inside. And here's the part no one wants to hear. She doesn't weaponize her beauty. She doesn't even fully understand it. She just knows how the world responds. And over time, she learns what works. How to hold a look. How to shape a smile. How to speak in a tone that makes you lean in. Not because she's evil, because she's adapting. Survival doesn't care about fairness. It cares about efficiency. And beauty is efficient. It captures attention. It opens doors. It makes men hand over their power with a smile. You want to blame her? For what? For responding to the instincts nature gave her? Don't blame her. Understand her. See through the spell. Not to reject it, but to stay grounded in the middle of it. Her beauty is not your downfall. Your blindness to it is. And until you learn to see clearly, you will keep mistaking a test for a treasure. You crave her eyes because you haven't faced your own. Most men don't want love. They want relief. They don't chase her because they've found their match. They chase her because they can't stand their own silence. They crave her eyes because they've never looked into their own. They don't want connection. They want escape from the weight of who they are, from the pain they haven't healed, from the emptiness they've never named. Socrates called it the unexamined life. But deeper than that, he warned of the unexamined desire, because that's where madness begins. Not loud, not wild, but subtle. The kind of madness that dresses itself in romance. You think you're falling for her, but what if you're just running from yourself? She becomes the fantasy, the cure, the answer to every ache you never understood. And that's why you put her at the center. Because if you can win her, you don't have to face you. This is why you change your voice when she walks in. This is why you betray your values just to keep her interested. This is why you stop building and start bending. Because she becomes the mirror you hope will finally show you that you're enough. But no woman can give you back what you lost by abandoning yourself. You think you're hungry for love, but it's not love. It's the hunger to feel whole. And instead of digging inward, you reach outward, and you build your self-worth on someone else's attention. That is not connection. That is dependency. And when she pulls away, you don't just feel sad, you feel erased. Because she wasn't just a woman. She was your proof, your validation, your reflection. You say she broke your heart, but the truth is, you gave her your soul and hoped she'd fix it. That was never her job. She was never meant to be your answer. She was meant to be your mirror. And the reflection? It hurt, because it showed you how much of yourself you've left behind. This is why Socrates warned us that desire, when left unchecked, becomes madness. Not dramatic madness, but quiet madness. The kind that turns warriors into servants, mission into obsession, man into echo. And the only cure to stop chasing her eyes and meet your own. She mirrors your weakness back to you. Her silence isn't punishment, it's precision. You think she's being distant, that she's pulling away to hurt you, but that's not what's happening. She's simply reflecting what's already inside you. She doesn't need to yell. She doesn't need to explain. She just stops responding and watches what you do in the absence of approval. Most men collapse. They beg. They apologize for things they didn't do. They over-explain. They chase. And in doing so, they reveal a truth they never wanted seen, that their confidence was never theirs. It was borrowed. It existed only when she was smiling. But a man whose center depends on her affection is not a man who can lead. She doesn't leave because she's cruel. She leaves because your frame was a costume, and her silence ripped the mask off. She tests not with words, but with absence. Do you panic? Do you doubt yourself? Do you spin out, reaching for her like a lifeline? Then she knows. She knows your power was performative. She knows your direction was conditional. She knows your strength was decoration, not structure. And once she sees that, something inside her shifts. She may not speak it, but she feels it, that she can no longer respect you. And if she cannot respect you, she cannot stay. You want her to return, but she was never built to return to a man who bends. Not because she's unkind, because she's wired to survive, and survival doesn't align with a man who folds under pressure. You called her silence cruel, but it was honest. The most honest mirror you've ever stood in front of. It didn't lie. It didn't flatter. It simply showed you that you haven't yet built a self that can stand without applause. And the moment she saw it, she stopped believing in you. Because if your strength can't survive her distance, how could it ever survive the weight of life? You think she broke you, but she only revealed the fracture that was already there. She's not punishing you. She's reflecting you with perfect clarity, and that clarity is your invitation, not to chase her, but to rebuild the part of you that thought love could be earned by falling apart. She's not here to heal you. She's here to reveal you. You were told that if you're kind enough, she'll stay. If you're gentle enough, she'll open up. If you're consistent, loyal, understanding, she'll choose you. But she's not here to reward you. She's not here to fix you. She's not here to complete you. The feminine is not your savior. She is the mirror, and mirrors don't heal. They reflect. She reflects your structure or your collapse. She reflects your direction or your drift. She reflects your presence or your performance. You want her to fill your emptiness, but that was never her role. She was sent to expose it, so you would finally face it. You try to impress her, to win her affection, to prove that you're safe, stable, worthy. But all she sees is a man who believes love must be earned through self-erasure, and instinctively she steps back, because the feminine does not kneel to need. It aligns with strength, not aggression, not force, not arrogance, but clarity. She wants to feel your presence as a weight in the room, a grounded, steady energy that doesn't shake when tested. Not because it's cold, but because it's rooted. And if you don't have that, if your soul is borrowed, she will see it. If your confidence is fragile, she will feel it. If your self-worth is conditional, she will test it. Not because she's cruel, but because she cannot bond with weakness. Her nature does not allow her to. That's why she pulls away when you cling. That's why she questions you when you hesitate. That's why she loses desire when you make her your center. You thought you were being loving, but love built on fear is not love. It's addiction. It's need. It's the quiet begging of a man who doesn't know he's enough without her. She does not want to carry you. She does not want to lead you. She does not want to heal what you refuse to face. She wants to feel safe inside your world, a world that exists with or without her. If you don't have that world, you don't need a girlfriend. You need to rebuild your foundation. She is mystery, and mystery does not kneel. It doesn't chase. It doesn't stay because you deserve it. It stays when it feels depth, and depth cannot be faked. Power isn't about control. It's about being untouchable. You think power means control, being louder, being dominant, being the one who always wins. But true power has nothing to prove. It doesn't force. It doesn't chase. It doesn't flinch. Power is not about bending her to your will. It's about standing so still that even the storm must move around you. A man who cannot be moved, not by rejection, not by beauty, not by her silence or her affection. that man becomes gravity. And gravity doesn't need to persuade. It simply is, and everything else adjusts. She does not chase him. She aligns with him, because instinctively she feels it. This one cannot be shaken. Not by her approval, not by her withdrawal, not by the winds of her emotion. He sees her fully, the mystery, the chaos, the beauty, the tests, and he remains himself, not closed, not cold, just unshaken, because he knows who he is. He knows where he's going, and no gaze, no touch, no kiss can rewrite his direction. That's the man she watches from across the room without needing to understand why. That's the man she tests and respects, because he doesn't collapse when she pushes, he expands. She may try to confuse him, she may pull away, she may get emotional, go silent, change tones, shift moods, and still he stands, not in arrogance, but in presence. This is the kind of man who makes her nervous, not because he threatens her, but because he sees through the mask and doesn't need it. He doesn't seek permission to be. He doesn't ask to be chosen. He doesn't trade his soul for softness. He has nothing to hide, and that terrifies people who live through performance. You want to know what keeps her? What actually holds her energy? It's not your looks, not your words, not your paycheck. It's your emotional immovability, your ability to stay deeply feeling, yet utterly centered, connected, but not consumed, loving, but not lost. That's what power looks like in the masculine. Not noise, stillness, not control, command. And she can feel the difference. You don't need to overpower her. You need to be a man she cannot knock off course, because the feminine by nature is water, and water only surrenders to what cannot be moved. You were never weak. You were just unconscious. You were never weak. You were just unconscious. Unconscious of the pattern. Unconscious of your craving. Unconscious of the way you bent every time her mood shifted. You thought you were being romantic. You were just forgetting yourself, and now you see it. She wasn't the villain. She was the revealer. Her silence was not rejection. It was a mirror, and what you saw in that mirror, it broke you, because it wasn't her leaving that hurt the most. It was the realization that you abandoned your own throne long before she did. You made her your compass, your cure, your reason to rise. But a man who rises only when she's watching is not rising, he's performing. You gave her the crown and then hated her for wearing it. You silenced your voice and then blamed her for not listening. You left yourself behind and called it love. But love without self is not devotion, it's disappearance. Socrates didn't die for rules, he died for truth, for the kind of truth that doesn't change based on who's in front of you, the kind of truth that costs comfort, approval, affection, but gives you back something no woman can hand you, your soul. You think becoming a man is about getting her to stay, but the real initiation begins when you stop needing her to. Because once you stop living for her reaction, you start living for your alignment. You start building your fire, not to warm her hands, but to light your path. And in that flame, the old version of you burns, the version that chased, that begged, that broke, that folded every time love felt unstable. That version dies, and something new takes its place. A man, not because he's cold, but because he's clear. Not because he doesn't feel, but because his feelings no longer dictate his form. He loves deeply, but does not collapse. He gives fully, but does not disappear. He welcomes her presence, but is not afraid of her absence. This is what Socrates meant by the examined life. Not just examining your thoughts, but your patterns, your impulses, your longing. Why do you crave her validation? Why do you fear her withdrawal? Why do you become a stranger to yourself the moment she turns away? Answer those questions, and you'll stop trying to control her and start mastering you, because you don't need her affection. You need your essence, that part of you that cannot be bought, cannot be manipulated, cannot be lost when she leaves. You think love is about merging, but love is about clarity. Two complete beings, not two broken halves searching for glue. And you were never broken. You were just distracted by softness, by beauty, by the echo of approval you never gave yourself. But now you remember. Now you see. And once a man sees, he never goes back. He may still love, still fall, still ache, but he never forgets who he is inside that ache. He stands, he leads, he burns, not for her attention, but for his own becoming. You were never weak, you were just unconscious. And now, you see? And if this message reached you, don't scroll away like it didn't. Let it echo, let it confront the silence inside you, and then pass it forward, not to support me, but to support the truth, because men everywhere are starving for it. If you've been fed, feed others. Like, share, subscribe, let them find this. Let them remember. Watch, reflect, rise, and once you rise, you never kneel again.